Well, hi, all my friends. Just busy morning for me this morning, running around, trying to finish things up and do my last workshop today. Yay! Done with the workshops for a while, and some more in November, and probably some from work that I need to try to figure out how to do. So anyhow, we are in chapter 5, Lamentations, last chapter of Lamentations. There's only 5 chapters in here. And this is the pitiful complaint of Zion in prayer to God. Okay, so he's lamenting and, really crying out to the Lord. Okay, so before I get started, always pray before you hear God's word, and then also keep each other in prayer. I'm glad that Thomas, you're on the mend again, and keep each other in prayer, and keep our land in prayer, our people who are in government in prayer. Hold them up to the Lord, and and hopefully that their good angels will intervene amongst each other and help each other out. I wish that they would look at their heart's intent, why they are in the position that they are in, and go with their heart's intent, and to know that the good Lord above is watching and hearing everything that's going on, and writing everything down. So, yeah. All right. Chapter 5. Remember, O Lord, what is come upon us. Consider and behold our reproach. Our inheritance is turned to strangers, our houses to aliens. We are orphans and fatherless. Mothers are as widows. We have drunken our water for our money. Our wood is sold unto us. Our necks are under persecution. We labor and have no rest. We have given the hand to the Egyptians and to the Assyrians to be satisfied with bread. Our fathers have sinned and are not, and we have borne their iniquity. Servants have ruled over us. There is none that doth deliver us out of their hands. So there's no helper, they're helpless. We get our bread from the peril of their lives, because of the sword of the wilderness. Our skin was black like an oven because of the terrible famine. They ravished the women in Zion and her maids in the cities of Judah. Princesses are hanged up by their hands. The faces of the elders are not honored. They took the young men to grind, and the children fell under the wood. The elders have ceased from the gate, the young men from their music. The joy of our heart is ceased, our dance is turned into mourning. The crown is fallen from our head. Woe unto us that we have sinned. For our heart is faint, for those things our eyes are dim. Because of the mountain of Zion, which is desolate, the foxes walk upon it. Thou, O Lord, remainest forever, thy throne from generation to generation. Wherefore dost thou forget us forever, and forsake us for such a long time? Turn thou us unto thee, O Lord, that we shall be turned, renewed our days of old, as of old. But thou hast utterly rejected us, thou art very wroth against us. And that is the end of the lamentation. Okay, in Ezekiel, hang on just one second, I don't want to lose my page here. Okay. Before we get into that, the book of Ezekiel, the name means our God strengthens. Pretty cool. Prophecy, like Daniel and Revelation, might be termed a mystery book. It contains much imagery, which is difficult of interpretation. Nevertheless, many of its teachings are clear and of the highest value. So that's because things have been lost, all right? Some things have been refound, reborn, renewed, and hopefully I can, with some of my own study, I can glean some more information for you. And then you can go back over and read over or re-listen to, my readings and think about these things, and see what your angels teach you as well. Okay? So let's see. The synopsis of the book, the section of the preparation and the call of the prophet, the son of a priest, chapter 1 through 3. A, there's the son of the priest. B, he's carried away captive to Babylon. C, his vision of God, his call, his commission and endowment, his spiritual food, his task, a spiritual watchman, is Ezekiel. And so he's a spiritual watchman, chapters 3 and 4 and 11, 17 and 21. And then Ezekiel claims the highest degree of inspiration. The words, "Thus saith Jehovah," are reiterated over and over again throughout the entire book. So you're going to be hearing that a lot. The keynote is, "I am Jehovah." Okay. And Emanuel Swedenborg calls the Lord either the Lord or Jehovah. Section 2, a portrayal of the apostate condition of Judah before the captivity. Largely visions, warning, predictions concerning the guilt of the people and the coming destruction of Jerusalem. B, divine judgments upon 7 surrounding nations. Section 3 is the chief predictions and promises concerning the means by which the glory of the nation is to be restored. And then it goes into heeding the warnings of the spiritual watchman, displacing the false shepherds, and the coming of the good shepherd who will feed the flock, Jesus. And by the national revival and spiritual resurrection in the valley of the dry bones, the overthrow of the enemies of the nation, by the building of a new sanctuary, by the returning of the glory of the Lord, by the ministry of the loyal priesthood, by life-giving waters issuing from sanctuary. Outstanding events in the book are the departure of the glory of the Lord from the temple, the fall of Jerusalem, the return of the Shekinah prophesied, choice selections, the new heart, personal responsibility, untempered mortar, the search of man of integrity, sentimental hearers, chapters for ministers, revival chapter. And then will be the companion book to Ezekiel is the book of Daniel. The author of, like Ezekiel, the captive of Babylon, he was brought before the king Nebuchadnezzar while young, trained in the Chaldean language and sciences. The career resembled that of Joseph. The main theme, the sovereignty of God. Section 1, largely a narrative personal biography and local history, and so forth and so on and so on. So when we get to that, then I'll read you that, okay? So just know that that's the companion book that you could look at for other resources. So let me see if I can get back to where I am at with one hand here. Yahoo! Okay. So let's just start a little bit with Ezekiel and do pray, get right with the Lord, open up yourself into His Word. Ezekiel's vision of 4 cherubims and the 4 wheels. Now it came to pass in the 13th year, the 4th month of the 5th day of the month, that I was among captives by the river of Chebar, that the heavens were opened, and I saw visions of God. In the 5th day of the month, which was the 5th year of the king of Jehoiachin captivity, the word of the Lord came expressly unto Ezekiel the priest, the son of Buzi, in the land of the Chaldeans by the river Chebar, and the hand of the Lord was there upon him. His divine hand, not a literal hand, okay? And as I looked, behold, a whirlwind came out of the north, a great cloud, a fire enfolding itself. Brightness was about it, and out of the midst thereof, as the color of amber, out of the midst of the fire. Also out of the midst thereof came likeness of 4 living creatures. And this was their appearance. They had the likeness of a man. Every one had 4 faces. Every one had 4 wings. Their feet were straight feet, and the sole of their feet was like the sole of a calf's foot. And they sparkled like the color of burnished brass. And they had hands of a man under their wings on their 4 sides, and they had 4, and they 4 had their faces and their wings. Their wings were joined one to another. They turned not when they went. They went every one straight forward. As for the likeness of their faces, they 4 had the face of a man, the face of a lion, and on the right side they 4 had the face of an ox, and on the left side they 4 also had the face of an eagle. Thus were their faces, and their wings were stretched upward. 2 wings of every one were joined one to another, and 2 covered their bodies. And they went every one straight forward. Whither the Spirit was to go, they went, and they turned not when they went. As for the likeness of the living creatures, their appearance was like that of burning coals of fire, and the appearance of lamps. It went up and down among the living creatures, and the fire was bright, and out of the fire went forth lightning. And the living creatures ran and returned as the appearance of a flash of lightning. Now, as I beheld the living creatures, behold, one wheel upon the earth by the living creatures with his 4 faces. The appearance of the wheels and their work was like unto the color of beryl. The 4 had one likeness, and the appearance and their work was as it were a wheel in the middle of a wheel. And when they went up on their 4 sides, and they turned not when they went. As for their rings, they were so high, they were dreadful, and their rings were full of eyes round about them 4. And when the living creatures went, the wheels went by them, and when the living creatures were lifted up from the earth, the wheels were lifted up. Whithersoever the Spirit was to go, they went. There was their spirit to go, and the wheels were lifted up over against them, and the spirit of the living creature was in the wheels. And when those went, these went, and those stood, and they were lifted up from the earth, and the wheels were lifted up over them against them. The spirit of the living creature was in the wheels. And the likeness of the firmament upon the heads of the living creature was the color of terrible crystal, stretched forth over their heads above. And under the firmament were their wings straight and one toward the other. Every one had 2 which had covered one on his side, and every one had 2 which covered one on that side, their bodies. And when they went, I heard the noise of the wings, like the noise of the great waters, of the voice of the Almighty, the voice of the speech, the noise as a hoist, as they stood and they let down their wings. Then there was a voice from the firmament that was over their heads when they stood, and they let down their wings. And above the firmament there was over their head was the likeness of a throne, the appearance of sapphire stone. Upon the likeness of the throne was the likeness as the appearance of a man upon it. And I saw the color of the amber, the appearance of fire round about it, and with the appearance of the loins, even upward towards the appearance of the loins downward, as I saw that there was an appearance of fire, and it had brightness around about it. The appearance and I've got to stop right now. Bye.